Hey fam, welcome back. Hopefully you're doing good and having a great day. If you're not, please let me know to help you. Until then, I wanted to go over gear a little bit because we all know that the political environment has fostered a very massive rise in safety concerns. So we want to be safe. We want to make sure that we're prepared for, I wouldn't say anything because you can't really be prepared for anything and everything, but you want to be at least more prepared than what you are now for those of you who are looking for information on gear, right? Now, understand I'm not a tier one operator, nor was I ever. Okay. I was just regular Air Force security forces. And so I do know a little bit, but I don't know everything. Okay. So bear with me. I may get some things wrong, and that's fine. Okay. I'm not some guru that knows every fucking thing that I'm talking about. So that being said, some things to consider when you're looking for gear. Number one, what do you want to use it for? Right? Do you want it for more urban stuff because you live in urban areas? Do you want it for more wilderness stuff because you live out in the woods? What do you want to use it for? As you can see, this shit's really heavy. I have a lot of pouches here. I've got a lot of pouches because the wilderness is something that I had a little bit more in mind for this plate carrier here. I wanted something that's going to carry as much as I could that would last at least 3 days. When you're out in the wilderness, you want to have something that's going to last you at least a few days, 72 hours. A little bit more than what you would really need from an urban kit. If you're going with an urban kit, you would definitely want to downsize as much as possible, but make sure to keep all of the essentials, right? Magazines, medical stuff, batteries, all kinds of shit, right? But you want to get more of a smaller frame that's still going to protect your vital organs. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with all of the weight because then obviously that's going to cause a lot of problems. It's going to slow you down. It's going to tire you out faster. And later on down the road, it's going to do a lot of damage to your back. You're going to have a lot of back pain as I'm feeling right now. But I'm going to push through for you guys. Let's go through some pouches here, okay? The essentials. You are going to want a primary and secondary source of ammunition. So that means mag pouches, mag pouches, mag pouches, mag pouches. That's one of the first things that you want to consider when you are building your kit. So these mag pouches here, it's all one pouch, but you have a series of pouches here. You have 6 all together here. They're in a row of 3. So that is super, super good. You want to make sure that you can keep mag pouches like this all together because it's going to be easier to web. Secondary right here. You want it close to your support hand because as you're pulling it out, boom, right in, right? Same thing. When you're going in, boom, good to go. Now, also some things to really consider too when you're looking at mag pouches, make sure you can find the ones that have these straps here. You want to make sure those mags don't fall out. You don't want to be the guy that goes to look for a mag and you can't find them because all of them fell out 200 yards prior, right? So don't be that guy. Make sure you get some of these things. Another thing to consider when it comes to mags are these grips, these mag grips. Quick, good to go. When you're in a firefight, obviously you don't want to take unnecessary time to reload or whatever. So this eliminates that, or at least in theory. So next thing to consider is food and water. You want to make sure that you have plenty of space for food and water. You could probably put some canned food in here. Just make sure you save some space for medical equipment. And I'll get to medical equipment here in just a little bit. Next is water. You want to make sure you have a hydration source. So here I have Camelback, and super good source for water, super good source for hydration. I actually used this when I went hiking not too long ago. It did pretty well for 3,000 feet and back, so it will definitely last you a while. It's pretty good on not leaking. Pretty sure you can find all this stuff on US Patriot Tactical. So it's a really good site to use. Actually, matter of fact, I used it quite a bit when I was in, and I actually got quite a bit of my gear while I was in from US Patriot Tactical. They actually do have brick and mortar stores as well as online. And so you can just look them up online, find some stuff online and order it. You want to make sure that your hydration source is readily accessible. What does that mean? Well, you want to make sure that you have your source rigged in a way to where it's easily accessible to drink water. So something to keep in mind. Next is a light source. So there are going to be some specific points in time where you're going to use a light, not just in the dark. I would just be very careful about using a light source, because people who are using a light source is going to be a lot easy. It's going to be a lot easier to tell exactly where you are, because a lot of people have a light source on their rifles or their kit. Situation would really dictate on if a light source is going to be beneficial for you or not. Now, medical stuff, gauze, shears. The rest of my medical stuff is in my battle belt. Utility pouches, super, super, super useful for stuff like this. If you have a tourniquet in here, good. I would keep a tourniquet on you that is easily accessible. I don't happen to have a holster for it. I had one at some point. I don't know what happened to it. Super, super useful. You don't want it on your firing side, because then you could get switched up, especially in the heat of the moment. Gloves. You want to make sure your hands are protected. The thing is that when you're looking for gloves, I would definitely consider something that has knuckle protection, because if you find yourself in hand-to-hand combat, you want to make sure that your knuckles are protected. One, because if you go to punch and you happen to miss, you could potentially hit something hard that would break your hand. You don't want that to happen, obviously, because then that would mean you're fucking dead. But then again, if you miss your punch, you just suck anyways and you're going to die. So, gloves, super, super important. All right. Battle belts. Battle belts are super useful. So, you want to take as much pressure off of your back as possible and put it onto your hips. And that's why the rest of everything is going to be here. And so, just what I was saying about mag pouches, you want extra mags. Okay. You want to make sure you have enough to get through whatever it is that you're going through. And so that's going to be for both your primary and secondary. I don't happen to have any other mags for my secondary, but it'll definitely be in the future. Here is the other utility pouch. Remember what I was talking about? Tourniquets. Tourniquets are very, very handy. Here's the thing though, if you're going to use a tourniquet, let it be on yourself first. But make sure you also carry extras, because you don't know where you could get hit next. You just want to be prepared. And if you happen to have a spare that you could spare someone else if they got hit as well, then you can do that. Just make sure you take care of yourself first if you are indeed hit. I have here some more gauze, and then also a splint. You don't know what can happen, so you want to be prepared. Med pouch, trauma bandage, Neosporin, and all kinds of other stuff in there. You want to make sure that you have some form of trauma kit, but here's the thing though, you will be using it on yourself if you ever have to. You want to make sure that you are good to go first. And if someone happens to have a trauma kit on them, you use their kit. They always taught us that if we get hit, we use our own, because if someone comes over and uses theirs, if they get hit, now they're fucked. So use your own, don't use someone else's. For the belt, you want it to sit right on top of the belt around your pants, and that should be just fine. Now for helmets, this is where things really get expensive. I just have a cheap ACH. This is what the military used to use, the ACHs. Now they use High Cut, Ops Core, and Team Windy and all that shit. But here's the thing. If you want to go as light as possible, go with the Ops Core, go with Team Windy, go with the High Cut stuff. But make sure you have some ear protection. I went with this one because there is ear protection here. As you can see, a little bit more ear protection. That's just me. I prefer the ear protection, but there are some really good uses to the high cuts. Obviously, the railing system. Again, this is just cheap shit. Okay. I didn't really invest a lot of money into all this shit. If you really want a good helmet with some decent stuff, you're definitely looking at about 1,000 to 1,500. You're really, so they get expensive. Next are nods. If you want to be able to use nods, you want to make sure that you can get a helmet that can accept NVGs. So if you're looking at NVGs, those are going to get expensive too. Very expensive. I mean, I'm talking low end $1,000, and that's very modest. But this is just a cheap helmet. It'll get the job done. Next are our backpacks. This is an assault pack. I have a few days worth of clothes in here. I will also be putting extra food and stuff in here as well. I also believe that there are some extra medical supplies in here as well. Band-aids, stuff like that. You want to make sure that you can carry extra clothes, maybe a couple bottles of water, some food, maybe some protein bars, things that could carry you through the day so you're not eating so much. And then also some extra medical stuff, batteries, knives, whatever. But you want to make sure that that can last you, a few days. If you need more than that, if you're going somewhere that's going to require more than 72 hours, I would definitely look at getting a rucksack so you can store a lot of stuff in that rucksack. That would definitely help you out a lot more than, what all of this is here. So also make sure you're carrying cleaning equipment. That's something that you are absolutely going to need as well. You can carry that in your 72-hour bag if you can find some room for it, but definitely make some room for that. You want to make sure that you are cleaning it out there so that it continues to function. Cleaning equipment, food, water, medical equipment, batteries, all kinds of shit. Okay. And then ammo, eye protection, hearing protection, right? Protection of the hands. You might be getting into stuff where poison ivy is. You might be allergic to poison ivy, so you want to make sure you protect your hands, right, and your skin from all of those oils. Here I have two different kinds of fatigues. Here I have flame retardant, and here I have more of a combat cut style fatigues. So I would almost always recommend the flame retardant. Sure, you don't have the built-in knee pads, but who are you blowing anyways? These are breathable. These are comfortable. It's just like wearing PJs. And I'm pretty sure you'd also appreciate the fire resistance. These, very stretchy. These are also movable in as well. But the thing is, they're not as breathable or as comfortable as those flame retardants. However, they do have the built-in knee pads, which is great. And they do happen to have the extra utility pouches. So, listen, you don't have to be military like shit, right? Because, listen, military grade is not always the best grade. Matter of fact, it's almost always the shittiest grade. So, civilians have better equipment than the military does. Just saying. So you don't have to always, go with OCP shit. You don't have to rig up your stuff like how the military does. You don't have to do that shit. Rig it up the way it works for you. Okay? Rig it up the way it works for you. That's the most important thing to consider when you're looking to build your own kit. And this is why I was asking you these questions. What are you using it for, right? What do you need it for? This is pretty much the basics. Anything beyond that is definitely going to be beyond my expertise, if you can call them expertise. I don't know a whole lot, but what I do know, I can help you out where I can. Another thing to consider, something that I forgot to mention, were slings. So for slings, I would always recommend a single point sling. Always recommend single point sling. It's going to be a lot easier to detach your rifle in the situations that you need to do that very quickly, and you don't have your rifle attached to you, because you can detach it and then you can also detach it very quickly. Right. So that's why I would always recommend a single point sling and then just attach that to your rifle. Well, hopefully this was able to help you out. And if it did, please like, share, subscribe, guys. Join the family. I'd really love to have you guys join the journey here. I'm trying to help you guys out as much as I can. And, well, if I'm doing that, that's awesome. That's the whole point of the channel here, is to help you guys out. So if you guys happen to have any specific questions, please ask. I'll be more than happy to help out and answer those questions the best that I can. So make sure that you are getting into shape if you're not, and make sure you're staying in shape if you are in shape, and you want to be as effective as possible. That being said, make sure you are taking care of yourselves, not just physically, but mentally as well. If you got to talk to someone, go talk to somebody. And if you need to talk to someone, I'm here. Please reach out. My door's always open. Look after each other as well, because that's all we have at the end of the day. I wish you all a lovely night. I love you all. I'll talk to you guys soon.